Hello, 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 y'all. Hello. So, how y'all doing? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? What is cracking on this Wednesday? How y'all doing? So, it's What About a Wednesday? Y'all know if I don't do a Talk About a Tuesday, I'm going to do a What About a Wednesday or a Thought About it Thursday or a fucking Friday. You know, it might show up on you. But on this particular day, um, y'all, let me tell you, on this particular day, we are doing What About It Wednesday. So, what I want you to do is, I want you to really take an opportunity, grab your notebook, let everybody know I'm live. It's What About It Wednesday because we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it on this day about it. What about it? So, first and foremost, if you don't know now, you know today, Queen Sis, because we all call her Queen Sis. We call all of our rainbow unicorns queens. So, Queen Sis, April Waist Measurement Challenge starts tomorrow. So if you ain't already in on the sisterhood like no other, I'm telling you now, you want to get in on that. So shout out to Queen Sis right now because I rocks the beads. I rocks the sisterhood. I let everybody know about the Unicorn Squad because I'm on it. Yes, we all love each other and love on each other. But that starts tomorrow. So if you don't know about it now, you know. Also, update. I did not update the Etsy store the way I said I was going to because it's coming. The update to the Etsy store is coming. So if you don't know about Shea Du Jour on Etsy, it's SheaDujour, all one word. Shea Du Jour on Etsy. As a matter of fact, I never use my stuff, right? So Shea Du Jour on Etsy. I need y'all to go over to that store because I'm getting ready to drop some stuff for the dudes. So this is what I noticed, right? I forgot as much as I teach about positive and negative, I also need to remind you all the importance of the divine feminine and divine masculine because those energies are also giving and receiving at the same time. So it allows you to feel more feminine and what allows you to feel more masculine, divine feminine, give and receive at the same time. So for the divine masculine out there, because I ain't forget about y'all. Some of y'all, yeah, y'all need that freshness too. So I'm coming up. I will be dropping, I want to say tonight at midnight. Let's see if I can get the work done. Tonight at midnight, I will be dropping the divine masculine spiritual bath. Yes. Tonight at midnight for my divine masculines out there, for the ones who want to get in touch with their masculine side, I will be dropping the divine masculine spiritual bath. So what's in it? It's going to have the pink Himalayan salt. It's going to have the Epsom salt. It's going to have the bay leaf. I'm going to add some cinnamon. I'm going to add some turmeric to make some balls taste better. Y'all heard me because the men might need a nice ball steam too. So I got y'all ball steam coming with the rosemary and the turmeric and the cinnamon to help y'all get that freshness to you so the women can give whatever they give it. Thank you, Kimmy. Hey, welcome. So let everybody know I'm live on YouTube and I didn't even bother to do the IG intro, none of that. Yes. So I got the divine masculine scene coming out tonight at midnight. It will be dropping. Because I thought about it and was like, yo, what about it? Like the women I got y'all yoni steam, y'all feeling all lavender fresh and stuff. But the dudes, like the men, they need something too to get that spiritual cleanse. So when they so if y'all don't know, What About It Wednesday? Here we go. Giving and receiving. What about it Wednesday? Let's talk about giving and receiving on What About It Wednesday because I talk a lot about the giving and receiving and how we do it. Yes, you did. Yes. Giving and receiving at the same time. Because I'm telling you, I want to be clear. There's a divine feminine or divine masculine. There's also positive and negative. You always give and receive at the same time. So as much as you want to receive, you also have to give and vice versa. So the conversation that I'm having is giving and receiving. So a lot of us come from that predetermined religious background where we were taught how to live a certain way. However, in your teachings of living that certain way, they always tell you to give, 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 and make you feel bad and pressured about the receiving or guilty about the giving. So I wanted to really go into the conversation really deeply about the giving and receiving, because the thought process that I had on What About It Wednesday was simply this. Simple. It's simple. The world is really run by one fucking concept. The human world is really run by one concept. So I said giving and receiving, but the human world is run by one fucking concept. And the main concept is I have to feel superior because ... Now I had went off earlier in the week on my Instagram over the weekend, and thank goodness the live was deleted. The universe just said everybody don't need to hear it. Those who heard it, heard it. But I had a whole conversation with an older gentleman that was a Caucasian gentleman. And the conversation that he and I had was how genetically the Black woman's telomeres are longer on her genetic trace. So if you look at a genome and the X symbol, our telomeres, which is those little pieces that connect to our DNA, is genetically longer. And because it's longer, there's a thought process that we are superhuman, which means we can endure more pain, we can endure more trauma, we can go through more than the average person and come out okay. But the issue with that is the numbers and the thought process don't fucking add up. So I was really, really, really feeling some serious type of way about it, like went completely off, because my issue was this. This person who talked to me about it has a complete respect for Black women. He thought that the conversation would empower me. He thought that I would feel so much better now that he shared the information that my telomeres are longer than a Caucasian woman's, that I would feel so great about it. But the issue is it pissed me the fuck off. Why would it piss me off? Because I understand a lot deeper than other people that now this information had been running rampant for centuries. That information is the reason why Black women are dying at a rate of 1 in 4. It's the reason why that we're losing 1 to 3 Black men to the judicial system as well as to law enforcement. It's the reason why in my particular county that Black men are suffering from concurrent sentences back to back to back. Like, kid you not, if you got out on parole, you committed another offense, you are completing your sentence from parole on top of the double sentence that they give you for the new offense. So you're actually serving 3 sentences back to back in my county. And my county is one in all 50 states that's doing this shit to Black people. But I'm supposed to be so excited about the fact that you shared information with me that my telomere is a little bit longer because I happen to be Black than most Caucasians, and I'm supposed to be superhuman, and because I'm superhuman, it's fair for you to do this shit. But the ultimate thought process, follow me, y'all, the ultimate thought process really is I need a reason to prove that I'm superior than you. That's it. So you flipping the script and trying to convince me that I'm more superior than you, but I'm still suffering the greatest amount of injustices, is not giving me any good reason to splow you up, my dude. Say congratulations, because you just pissed me the fuck off and reminded me that the thought process of basic human beings is simply that you needed to feel superior to me, or vice versa. Y'all hearing me on that? Like, real talk. And I'm not saying that the information that this man was trying to share with me was in malice. Thank you for filling me. He wasn't trying to share the information in malice. But the issue is the information that you shared with me resonated with me differently than what you thought it would. Because I happen to be an educated woman. I happen to be one of those women that really take the time to understand why I think the way I do and why my thoughts are influenced by other thoughts. Let's keep it 110. As spiritual as I am, sorry, y'all, as spiritual as I am, I get pissed off, I get mad, I seek revenge, I do all of those human characteristics. My check and balance for those human characteristics is to allow myself to have the thought, not perform the action, and to really go down the list as to whether or not the thought is worthy of change. You heard me. Because at the end of the day, I had to explain a concept to another person, and this is my concept. Once you lose your candy, leave that shit lost. It's fucking gone. Leave it lost. Ain't no reason to go back looking for it. Ain't no reason for you to make up an excuse as to why you lost it in the first place. At some point in time, if you, and when I say lose your candy, I want to be clear. That means when you have an emotional splurge, when you go off on a person, when you're at a funeral crying uncontrollably, when you're at a wedding crying uncontrollably, when you're just running through your house and you just feel the need to scream or whatever, that release, that emotional splurge. Leave that shit lost, because a lot of us are going back and apologizing for things that we really have no business apologizing for. If I felt that you needed to be cursed out in that moment, I'm going to curse you out in a moment. It's that simple. However, I'm not apologizing for the words that I said in the moment. Why? Because that moment needed to occur. That's what I meant by giving and receiving at the same time. Some people who are on the receiving end are going to make you feel bad about the words that you said to them because of all of the other influences that they had in that day. So I could tell you, sis, what you just did wasn't really cool. I'm not really feeling how you treated me. As a matter of fact, I ain't banging with you after that. And some people will be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe she just talked to me that way. But to be honest, you didn't isolate the thought process of what you actually did. It wasn't about you as a whole person. It was about the action in which you took on my life. It was the things that directly impacted me. Therefore, in the hierarchy thought process where I need to be superior to you, the person who received it is going to be like, oh my gosh, you talked to me that way. I can't believe you talked to me that way. I'm supposed to be your friend. I'm supposed to be your sister. I'm supposed to be these things. You see how you put a hierarchy above? When in all actuality, all I did was say that you did and I didn't like it. I'm not feeling it. And how unfortunately society has gotten us to a point where we are controlled under that thought process, to where we apologize for shit that we can't really apologize for. How can I apologize to you for crying at a funeral? Whether it was my relative or not, a funeral was for people to release, right? So at the end of the day, how can I apologize to you for that? How can I apologize to you for telling you how I feel? If I say, sis, I don't like the way you did something, or I don't like the way you said something, explain to me. Explain to me why I should make you feel bad enough to apologize to me for how you felt. That's not cool. That is exactly where I'm at. I'm sorry that happened to you yesterday. But that's the shit I'm talking about. That's exactly, even when it comes down to like supervisors and stuff. So for example, let's put this shit in real context. Most of us had a 9 to 5 or have a 9 to 5. You called into your supervisor and was like, yo, I can't come in today. And they're like, well, why? In real talk, your energy just wasn't feeling it. You just wasn't feeling it, but you pulled some wild shit and was like, I'm sick. And they're like, oh, so since you're sick today, please make sure that you stop past the local Med Express and get an excuse for missing this day of work so that you can get paid. But then you might have pulled some slick shit and was like, you know what? I ain't even worried about getting paid. I'm just not coming in. And then they're like, well, if you don't give us a reason as to why you're not coming, we can't accept it as a call off. How many of us have gone through that shit? But to be in all honesty, let's be 110. When you called off, you already knew that you hated that fucking job and you didn't want to be there. Explain to me why you made up all of the stories or jumped through all of the hoops thereafter to placate the bitch that just told you she didn't even care about you as a person. Or the dude that just told you that they didn't care about you. That supervisor capacity, the hierarchy that already said, I don't care about you as a person. And what did you do? You attempted to placate them. Why would you do that? Because that's the way the societal thought process is. At the end of the day, we are supposed to think that someone has to be above us. Someone, some physical human being has to be above us, and we are supposed to placate to them. We're supposed to bend our will, change our behavior so that we can be emotionally supportive to them. Because at the end of the day, your supervisor don't run a whole fucking company, and if they do it, at the end of the day, they should be able to sustain without one person being there. That's the way the model's supposed to be set up. Explain to me how you're taking on the responsibility of their failed model. Absolutely. If you don't want the truth, don't ask me. I used to tell people that all the time. If you don't want the truth, don't ask me. You better not have them coming in over here. Because they come up here asking questions, I'm telling nothing but the truth. I ain't got time. Singing like a hummingbird. I ain't got time. I ain't doing time for you. I'll do time for me all day. But the time I do for me is worth me. And it's that simple. That's simple. So you absolutely right. They don't like the truth, but at the end of the day, why are we so scared to say it? Why are we so scared to own it? Why are we so scared to say that I need 20 minutes out of my day for me to yoni steam, for me to have my spiritual bath, for me to cleanse all of this shit out of my life so that you can understand that I'm working on me? Why do I need to placate you and go down all of these roads of how I'm doing this for me and how you should be supportive? Again, here we are with the hierarchy of thought. There's absolutely no reason why I need to convince another person why my life is important. The same way why their life is important to me. I don't have to convince another person of that. I need to live in the importance of myself. So that's what I mean by the giving and receiving at the same time. At the same time, I can tell a person that I'm not doing this because I'm not doing it. And they're like, well, you should give me an answer. No, I shouldn't. I should just tell you that I'm not doing it. That's my line and that's it. We have been trained as a people to understand that no is supposed to have additional possibilities. And to be honest, the only additional possibility to a no is when you up against a corporate barrier, when you're up against the obstacle that stops you from achieving your dream. It has nothing to do with your input on another person. If another person tells you they're not feeling it and they're saying no, you should allow it to be what it is. There's no reason why we should be pushing envelopes and making people apologize for shit that they can't control. And there's absolutely no reason why I should be hesitant in calling to my boss and be worried about whether or not I'm gonna keep a job because my child got sick. That's fucking retarded. It's not okay. Especially when I same boss is like, oh, I noticed something is going on with you. Tell me what's up. If you're telling me you care about me, then I should not feel anxious feelings about calling into work. It's giving and receiving at the same time. So if I own myself, like Kimmy said, you're just not going to like my truth. I'm not coming in today. I don't know what to tell you. Well, why I'm not coming? Why I'm not coming? Why I'm not coming? We can keep going in the same circle. You're going to say why, I'm going to say I'm not coming. I have to understand within myself that I do not deserve to give you an explanation because you don't care enough about me as much as I do. So even the energy exchange of giving you that information, it ain't even, it's a moot point. I don't even need to. I'm not coming. It's that simple. Does it make sense on that level? Like, I'm really trying to keep it not so complex because what about it? I was really looking at that, like really having a conversation. And how do we connect all of these things? So this is how we connect it. When you look at the hierarchy of human appreciation and how a person can encourage you to do things, you want to look at whether or not they're encouraging you to do the things within your thought process or the things that they came up with. That's what I meant by giving and receiving at the same time. If you heard my last lives and you heard me say, you're supposed to give away your product and the people who can afford it will purchase it. It's that simple. Well, if you look at how society actually operates, it really is that simple, but it's the hierarchy of how you operate it. If you're operating under religious belief, you would think that you're supposed to give it all away in order to receive that abundance. Well, let's be clear. Religious belief is one individual person's thought process. That was their thought on how to do things. You have your own thought process on how to do things. So half of you might want to give some things away and the other half might want to add a monetary value. But do yourself a favor and really deep down have a conversation about whether or not it suits you to just give it all away or to charge for some of it or to charge for all of it. The whole thought process is about the hierarchy and where you're placing yourself. If you are in a financial position, why the fuck would you give away all of your products? It makes no sense. I don't care how many blessings you might be waiting on. They're not going to fucking come if you understand the law of the universe and the way it works. If you had the idea and you had the means to create a project or a product and you were able to monetize that product, the universe doesn't tell you not to do it. The universe is telling you, I gave you the things that you needed. I gave you the idea. I gave you a way to make it come to fruition. Now you have a finished product. Put it forth to the universe so that other people can purchase your product and you can move forward. Does that make sense? Like real talk. I'm talking about what about a Wednesday on this level because as we get down to the thought processes of giving and receiving, and that's what I'm saying. We all want abundancy, but we all have to understand our way of getting it. You can't follow everybody's practice. You can't follow everybody's teachings. And it's that simple. But you can follow your own intuition. If you have an idea and you know that this idea can get you where you need to be, explain to yourself why your 9 to 5 is more important than your happiness. It makes no sense. There's no absolutely way that you can tell yourself that. And if you are telling yourself that your 9 to 5 is funding your happiness, you're telling yourself a fucking lie. Because what's actually happening is you're splitting yourself into two and you're finding yourself more frustrated with the fact that you could be doing stuff that makes you happy versus stuff that you know. That's what I meant by that giving and receiving component. Because with the hierarchy of thought processes, you have an elder set of people that are telling you to stick with your job. You know, that's just a little side project. You don't need to be doing all of that. Stick with your job. But then you have other folk that are encouraging you. No, you should do it this way. When I did it this way. But none of that is getting you to the actual information that you need. And the only way you get to the information that you need is you understand the thought process of the hierarchy, that someone has to feel superior than the other. And if you start to put yourself superior than everybody else around you, and I'm not encouraging selfishness, I'm encouraging higher levels of thought to unlock yourself. If you start to put yourself as the most important thing, you start to be unapologetic for your outbursts. You will start to pay attention to the words that you were actually communicating to other people while you're having the outburst, on top of the level of avoidance that you have in your own personal goal attainment. Yeah, I used a whole bunch of big words, so let me break that shit down. We have a bad habit of saying it's somebody else's fault as to why we couldn't get some shit done. If I didn't have this job, I would spend more time doing da-da-da-da-da. If I wouldn't spend more time doing da-da-da-da-da, I would be doing something else. If you paid attention to my last live and how I said I was getting rid of shit, I was cleaning out my house, I was getting rid of these boxes, this shit got to go. In that process, you have to understand that I'm also giving and receiving at the same time. Those who can afford my product pay for it. Those who can't, notify me and let me know when I do my donation on that portion. At no point in time am I looking at the universe to rain down abundance for either portion. I'm just recognizing that I'm doing my part. And that's all I need to do. Do I need to question every single person about how they live in their life, what their financial resources look like, and why they can't afford my shit? Absolutely not. Do I need to put out a donation sign on my lawn? Absolutely not. What I need to do is understand that the way I operate, my individual practice, the way I communicate with people, the things that I give, the information that I will. All of that is a part of me actually working towards my goal attainment. All of that is the reason why I have the abundance. So if I'm actually just giving product away, I'm telling the universe that all of these bright ideas and the means to create these bright ideas wasn't worth me utilizing them as tools as well as help. Now you see where I'm going with this? You got to give and receive at the same time. If you come up with a bright idea and you know that this great idea is going to work, even when you're talking about releasing emotions, at the end of the day, if you're in a position to where you need to release, you need to cut somebody out, you need to let go of something that is bothering you, make sure that you allow yourself the space to do that shit. Because holding on to it, I kid you not, holding on to it and praising them for doing shit like that and not allowing you to do it is nothing but building frustration, continuing your anxiety and depression cycle, and limiting your ability to getting the shit done that you wanted to get done this whole time. At the end of all of that, you ain't doing nothing but thinking about it. But thinking about it. So I ain't gonna hold y'all no much more longer, because y'all heard me, no much more longer. We ain't hold you no much more longer. But what about it Wednesday? I want you to really understand the concept of giving and receiving. I understand that giving and receiving is all about the thought process of superiority. The superiority thought process is not something that's going to be abolished because unfortunately the way people are is how it's set up. My individual practice can start a religion, same way somebody else's individual practice started a religion. It's just that simple. But you have to remember that you have your own individuality and your own practicality in your practicing. So if you're on a spiritual path, if you're on a conscious path, to understand the fact that every fucking thing boils down to the hierarchy of human thought. My superior versus your superior. A person with a PhD versus a person who have the books from Amazon that required the PhD. What's the difference? An accredited institution and $35,000. What's the difference? If I'm not willing to do that difference, then what says that I don't know as much as this other person? This hierarchy of superior thoughts. That's it. And if I allow myself to succumb to the fact that a person who spent $35,000 more on an education is more superior than I am, who spent the same amount of money in books, then I'm cheating myself out of the opportunity that the universe gave me from the tools in which I was able to use and monetize and move forward on. So I'm hoping you all were able to make sense of that complicated mess on What About It Wednesday. But that's all I have for y'all. So thank you for rocking with me. Look forward to seeing me on IG. Definitely go on my Anchor. Go on my podcast on Anchor, The Spiritual Basics. You can also find the CWC Education Station on Patreon, where I upload different basic spiritual practices and have more in-depth conversations about how you can practice individually on the topics in which you want to learn about. So I gave a platform just for that. So yes, and come back and join me again for What About a Wednesday. We might be talking about a Tuesday next week. I don't know yet, but we'll see how the world leads me. All right, y'all. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining me, and I'll be seeing y'all soon. Don't forget about that waist measurement challenge. It starts tomorrow. A Natural Hair Story. Go to her on IG. Check her out on Etsy. That's all I'm saying. Facts. You want to be in on this if you want a more intimate look on this thought. All right, I'll talk to y'all soon.